Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another PGR reaction. Today we have Dream Till the Timeless's battle theme. This one was requested by Chanonim in the comments of the last video. They also wanted me to get to the boss theme itself, but I only have the time for the one today. But I do want to say that I have been playing PGR recently, if you haven't seen those streams, and I'm actually really enjoying it. At first I wasn't sure if I was really gonna vibe with like how the combat and everything worked, but by the second stream I was understanding it a lot more. It helped having a lot more characters, especially more modern ones, where it's just like the layout and feels a little bit more precise, and I'm vibing with it now. So I think you guys can expect a few more streams out of me for sure on that, but all of that aside, I've got to listen to this song, and without further ado, let's go! Ooh. I should have expected something like this based off the image. But like that flourish, just coming straight in with that, ooh. This subtle harpsichord in there is really nice. I love it when they add like marching snare cadences to battle themes. It just feels so right. Oh God. Great dynamics there too. Feel them really pumping in at those accents there. This is really cool. I'm really liking how they're handling this. This is really decent. I hear a lot of themes like this. This one's actually standing out quite a bit. It's just got such a satisfying evolution to it. I'm starting to count it out now just because it's fun. Not because it's a hard count. This piano part is insane. Really feels like whoever composed that just dragged their mouse up and down the DAW, just allowing it to... Reminds me a lot of how rhythm game composers do their arpeggiating. Now we heard it twice all the way through, and now I can hear it fading out. Damn, yeah, that does stand out a lot, actually. Like I said, I've heard many themes that hit a similar energy to this one, but this one, it does something special, so I'll get into why. All right, so why is this song cool, and why does it have me geeking out a little bit? So this song has so much essence of what the old era of music was, especially Baroque and classical. It's like this whole song is Baroque and classical, weaving in and out of itself. That piano part that I kept nerding out about, that's largely Baroque, like late Baroque era, Bach's fugues and toccatas. Like, it's very much that if you hadn't heard any of his music from that era, definitely go listen to some of it. You'll immediately hear some of the similarities there. It's so spot on. But the reason that sounds so cool and why I'm nerding out so much is because it's flowing in with this classical sound, which is basically everything else you're getting that sounds a little bit more classical. You know, you have more heavy focus on the violins, and even like that the fugue sound is kind of more like that trumpet section in there. It's just, they're really doing it. This is like an overview from like the 1600s to the early 1800s. It's just really cool to hear somebody tackle like all of that influence in one track and keep this intensity behind it, which adds an entirely different emotional state to the song. Like, a lot of Baroque music wasn't supposed to sound like a war theme or a battle theme, but they did that here. They made it work. They added those cadences in with the snare, and it sounds so much more intense as a result, even though those largely were a lot more romanticized. Speaking of romantic, there was a little bit of romance era in here too, especially the very beginning. It was just like, what the hell? They were kind of nailing everything. And sure, to a lot of people, when you say classical music, they kind of take all of the eras from that time, just anything like way back in the day, you know, they're just like, oh, it's classical music. There are so many different sub-eras of music within there, like Baroque, classical specifically, romantic, and there's just so many of them. And the fact that they nailed it by just tying it all together here in a beautiful bow, it just sounds so clean. I really do love how they managed to bring all this together, mostly by adding those like cinematic war elements to the sound, these more intense passages and instruments, the percussion especially, doing a lot of the lifting there. It just sounds so neat hearing all of that in one. And again, just the way it flows in and out, the key they chose, everything about the essence of every passage, every influence that they're just throwing at this song, it just sounds perfect for a character I can only assume is supposed to be the embodiment of that type of thing. The older music styles, somebody who loves classical and romantic era stuff, and obviously by their instrument plays a lot of it most likely. It's probably supposed to be reflective of that, and they couldn't have done a better job at throwing everything from the generic area that they call classical music into one single track while still keeping it respectful to the original composers and their works. Like, I don't know if any of these were directly pulled from any old works from Bach or anything, but for example, that piano part in there, if you were to show that to Bach, if he were around today, he would be like, hell yeah. Because game recognizes game, and I have no doubt that if he heard that piano part, he'd be like, ooh, yeah, that's really decent composition there. Just the phrasing and everything was so beautiful. It was so spot on. I cannot get over that. Again, if you haven't heard anything from like that era, specifically like late Baroque era, go listen to some of it. Go listen to some of the fugues. Go listen to some of the toccatas. Toccata in G major would probably be a good one to start at because it has a lot of that same kind of frilly danciness to it. I just recently listened to that myself, so that's why it's in the top of my head. But man, it's like, again, if you have any sort of respect for this flavor and style of music and you want to respect it deeper and you really haven't dove that deep into classical, Baroque, etc., just jump into it. Give it a shot, because if you like this, I'm sure you'll at least find something to appreciate from that era, and we need to be able to preserve that. Classical music and these older generations of music have kind of fallen to the wayside, and games like this, thankfully, have characters who are inspired by stuff like that, and it allows it to live on a little bit longer, but I feel like people are kind of missing out by not revisiting those older things. Sure, it might not be the most recent, newest thing out there ever, but there is still a place for it in the broader zeitgeist of music, and I'm sure a lot of you would be able to at least respect it for what it is. But I think I'm done yapping now, so thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want me to get to the Selena boss theme, then let me know in the comments below, or if you have something else from PGR you want me to get to, also do that. I plan on streaming the game at some point, probably within the next day or two if you're watching this on release day, so keep an eye out for that stream if you want to watch those. And otherwise, if you just enjoyed this video and you want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!